So good evening, everyone. It's the 7th of September, 2020, and we're doing the training call called Plan a Balanced Life. And we've got how many people on the call right now? 74. So 100 is the target because after that, it kind of locks down. So yeah, so my name is Sam Leigh. I'm a vice president in Leeds. I'm actually based in Leeds. And I'll tell you a bit about myself before I actually go into the presentation. Just to mute yourself, please. And if you have any questions as we go through the presentation, please put it in the chat box. I'll try and get to as many of the questions as I can get to. And so my story, basically, I've been in Jenister now since 2010. And I came across Jenister through a friend. I used to work in the Department of Health in Leeds, and I used to do parliamentary questions. So I used to work in the House of Parliament. I used to work with the Minister for Health. When there was any question in the House, we basically used to take the questions, find the answers, and bring it back. So that was my job. I worked with the department for 18 years. But when I came across Jenister, we had a lot of financial challenges. We were okay. However, we wanted more. So between my wife and I, we had 3 jobs. I used to work at DH. I used to finish work about 4:35. Then I would leg it back home. I used to be a driving instructor. So I used to pick up my car, go and drive, or go and teach a couple of students in the evening. And I did that for about 5 years. And then I came across Jenister. And for me, it was life-changing because I needed the help Jenister could provide. Apart from being a driving instructor, I was also a pastor. I was a group scout leader, so I'm an Akela. And I also used to be a football coach in my children's school. So people tell me I'm busy when I tell them to come and join the business. I'm like, you haven't got a clue what that means. But I think for myself, it was just finding Jenister. One of the things that attracted me to Jenister was the opportunity to become debt-free. So that was one of my goals. And also, as a driving instructor, I used to have times whereby students will text me or call me halfway through the day to say, sorry, I can't make the class, which meant I now had 2 hours free where I wasn't doing anything, which also meant I wasn't getting paid. So for me, joining Jenister and seeing the opportunity to make money while I sleep was brilliant. And so that was one of the reasons why I joined. But also, my mentor, John Flynn, at the time, one of the questions he asked was, what goals do you have? Because I was working hard and I was working like a dog. And I said, well, I want to be debt-free. I want to be my own boss because I loved my job. But I don't know if anybody can relate. It was a great job. However, there's only so far you can go. And you get to that point, there was a glass ceiling whereby people would come into the company, I would train them. However, when an opportunity came for a promotion, they will get the promotion ahead of me. So I really wanted to leave. And to be honest with you, it was a great job, but my passion is people. I love working with people. I love having a laugh. So my passion really was working with people, which is why I did a lot of other things in the community. So I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be debt-free because I had a lot of debt, but I also have 2 young boys and I wanted them to get a private education. And so for me, those were my goals in Jenister. Now, within 5 years, by 2015, I was nearly debt-free. So I went down from 5 days at my job, I went down to 3 days. And then by April of 2016, I could actually sack my boss and leave the plantation. So I handed in my notice on the 29th of April, 2016. I did my 3 months notice. And on the 1st of August, 2016, I walked out of the Department of Health. And September of 2016, my son started at the grammar school at Leeds, which is the best school in Yorkshire right now. And my younger son started there 2 years later. So for me, I've been able to achieve my goals through Jenister. And I love introducing people to Jenister because for me, it does what it says on the tin. And I'm a living testimony to that. I have lots of people who've known me over the years. So that's a little bit about myself, really. And when I think about my life, I think about, there's different things you could be doing. Now, if you made money and you worked hard and you made loads of money, you may shed loads of money, but you don't have a happy marriage, where does that take you? Nowhere. What does that make you? Unhappy. But then you get people who work hard, slugging away, like myself and my wife. We had 3 jobs, like I said, between us, and we hardly ever got time with the children. And we just worked hard and hard and hard, and we weren't getting anywhere. Now, where does that take us? Absolutely nowhere. So for me, these 9 F's of having a balanced life has made a massive difference for me. And this kind of shows you it covers all areas of your life. And if you can get them in balance, you will have a balanced life. Part of my roles when I used to be at DH, I used to be a mental health first aid trainer. And one of the things I used to say in my class was, when you get on a plane, when the air hostess comes out, they say, when the gas mask comes down, put your mask on first before you put your child's mask on. And again, for me, I practice that in my life. And I think everybody really needs to do that. Before you can look after other people, are you looking after yourself? So this 9 balanced life, the 9 F's, I'm going to go through all the 9. And then at the end, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and I will try and answer them as much as I possibly can. So the way they go, the first 7 are the F's you need to tick off on your way to financial independence. So the first 7 are the 7 F's towards financial independence. And then once you've achieved financial independence, you've got the last 2 that you can then bring in. So what I'm going to go through now is just really talking about, if you succeed in business but lose your family, is it worth it? No, of course not. And, trading your health for money as well. Are you, which one do you value more? Your health or your money? Again, it's knowing which one, and having a balanced life, I think, is really important. So what we're going to be going through, really, like I said, is the 9 F's, and you really need to set goals for each of those areas. You need to set goals for different areas of your life. And, there's 168 hours in a week. 168 hours in a week. So you, me, Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, all these guys, how many hours do they have in a week? They've got 168, just like you do. So the difference really is how they use their 168 compared to yours and mine. And so we need to be disciplined. And I think it all comes down to discipline. Discipline in the way we use our 168 hours in a week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, this is from a book, what I'm going to try and do is try and break it down into hourly targets for a week. And it's for you really to decide how much time you want to place into it. So the first one we're going to be looking at, before I go into that, before I go into family, is just talking about what I like you to do is get a piece of paper and write 168. So that's 168 hours in a week. That's what we all get. Now, I'm going to start adding numbers to that 168, or rather, I'm going to start taking numbers out of that 168. So at the very top, you've got 168. What I'd like you to do now is to think about how many hours do you sleep in a week. So for some people, they sleep 7 hours. Some people sleep 8 hours. Some people, I probably get on average about 5 to 6 hours a week. So how many hours do you sleep? So let's just say according to professionals, we all need 8 hours a week. So let's say you get 8 hours a week. That's 8 times 7 is 56. So under the 168, I'd like you to write minus 56. And that's for your sleeping time, okay? So you've got 168 minus 56. And so you have 112 hours left, okay? Now 168 hours a week is in a week. So you've got 56 hours for sleeping. Now, when you take 56 hours out of 168, you've got 112 hours left in the week. Okay, we're looking at a week now. Now, how much time? So when we look at family, first one we're going to look at is your family. The first F is your family. So taking time out to spend time with the family. You know, I always say to people, one of the biggest gifts you can give to your children is your time. It's interesting. I've got a friend who is a taxi driver, and he had such a very rough life growing up. And one of the things he tells us is whatever his children want, he's going to get to them. And so whatever they want, they've all got the latest iPads, they've got the latest everything, but the guy works like a dog and is hardly ever at home. And I'm always telling him, dude, you know, you're giving these children all these things, but you're not spending time. And so for me, one of the greatest gifts you can give to your children is actually spending time with the children. So focusing and not neglecting the right relationships. So for yourself, when was the last time you spent quality time with your family? That's a question to ask. Okay, so when we're looking at family, when was the last time, you know, if your parents are not in where you are or they're far away, when was the last time you phoned them, you know, and actually played with your children as well? Now, play computer games, my boys are always asking me to play the Xbox with them. And every now and again, I'll just jump in and play, but it's not all the time. Now, let's just say you've got 2 children, you've got a partner. Let's say you spend 8 hours with them each in a week. 8 times 4 is 32. So let's just say, I know it's a lot, but let's say you spend 8 hours with each of them in a week. Okay, now that's 32. So what I'd like you to do is to minus 32 from what's left over. So you've got 168 hours, 56 hours for sleeping in a week, and then you've got 32 hours, and you're now left with 80 hours. Okay, so you've got 80 hours left to spend in the week for your next F. So, and that is faith. Now, I understand that not everyone is of the same faith. We're all different, okay, which is what makes us beautiful as human beings. So we're not all the same. However, what is your faith? Now, your faith could be just personal motivation. It could be Christianity, it could be Islam, it could be Buddhist, it could be being a Jedi Knight, whatever that may be. But take time to develop your faith. Take time to develop something around yourself that you can rely on, that you can call on. For me, personally, I'm a Christian, and that is where my faith lies. My faith lies in that. Where is your faith? But so let's just say you spend an hour, okay? Let's just say you spend an hour, and just say an hour and a bit every day. So we're going to say you spend 8 hours on faith in a week. Again, I think, you know, that's a lot. But let's just say you go to church. Let's say you're part of the worship service, you go to choir, you do lots of different things like that. So 8 hours, if you take 8 hours from 80, now you're now left with 72 hours. So we've got 72 hours left in a week. We've taken our sleep, family, and faith. The next thing really is your friends. Now you've joined Genister, wherever you may have come from, wherever you may have been, wherever you may have had in the past. Now, for me, I actually do think what eventually happens when I think about some of my closest friends now actually happen to be in Genister. A lot of the people that I can call and that I can talk to. And it's either we were friends and then they joined the business, or you've developed relationship with people in your business because you have the same mindset. So, they say surround yourself with people that pick you up, people that motivate you, people that fire you up. And you find that within the business, whereby we're all thinking the same way. We're all eagles. They say if you want to soar above the skies, you've got to fly with eagles instead of pigeons or chickens, basically. So are you flying with eagles? So, and that's really thinking not to neglect the friends that you had before you joined Genister. So when was the last time you hung out with your friends? When was the last time you basically gave them a phone call and just say, hey, how are you doing? I know for myself, I've got a bunch of friends. There's about 15 of us. And once every 3 months, 90 days-ish, we will just go to somebody's house. It's all lads. Some of them are, doctors, lawyers, cleaners, security guard. It doesn't matter where everybody's from. But we will just hang out in somebody's house. We'll meet there about 9 o'clock in the evening. Whoever we go to would have the starter, the main meal, and the dessert. And we'll be there till about 5, 6 in the morning, just hanging out, chatting, and just catching up. All our wives know where we are. So it's not like we're in the club doing all sorts of things with ourselves. So we just hang out. So when was the last time you hung out with some friends? So let's just say you spend 6 hours with your friends. So take 6 hours away from 72. And what do you have left? You've got 66 hours left. And then this next bit is my favorite. I'm not sure whether you know what that is yet, but fun. I love having fun. So don't be so focused on work that you miss out on having fun. I think it's important that we take the time to enjoy ourselves. So what do you do for fun? I'm just going to encourage some people to type into the chat box. What do you do for fun? I want to see some responses. I want to read out some responses. So if you don't mind, please humor me. What do you do for fun? So anybody? I want to see some things going on in here. I think it's important that we have fun. Thank you. Triathlon, nice one, Olu. Netflix. Games night, yeah, I do that all the time. Family day out, fantastic stuff. It's really important that we do not forget having fun. Football, Ado, I get that. Netball, yeah, and we'll come sushi. Well, camping, yeah, I don't do camping. I used to, but as a scout leader, I don't do that anymore. I prefer the comfort of my bed these days. Nollywood, oh yeah, my wife and I do that all the time. Yeah, meet up with friends, fantastic. Gardening, okay. Yeah, great stuff. So we need to have fun. And I think the more balanced life you have in that area where you have fun with people see you as, you're enjoying life, you're loving life. You're not working so hard that you're this stressed out person that nobody wants to hang with. So, because I love having fun, I'm going to put a lot of hours towards fun. I think it's important that you can have fun and still be able to, for those people who like to play golf, playing golf takes hours, being able to do things like that. So what else is there for fun? Yeah, scheduling time to enjoy yourself. I think it's important that we can enjoy ourselves. So for fun, I'm going to say put 12 hours down in a week. I think 12 hours is reasonable. Depends on the kind of stuff you do. So for me, I play badminton, I play football, I love playing board games. And I also get a bit of Netflix there every now and again. I think somebody mentioned Netflix. So those are the kind of things. There's more feedback coming through. I'm just going to check them out just to see what people are doing. Just bear with me a minute. Go out with my family, games night with the siblings, fantastic stuff. Girly day out, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your feedback. So I think it's important to schedule in having fun. What's your hobby? We've got this thing in Genister where we talk about asking people questions, asking them questions about themselves, what do you do? What are you passionate about? What do you do for fun? Now, if you were to ask somebody what they did for fun and they asked you back in return, what would you say? Oh, I'm just business focused. I'm sorry, but that doesn't work. So let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have a great time. I love having fun. Anybody hang out with me for 5 minutes, you will recognize that. So take time for yourself and just have a great time. Go for a walk. Do something chilled out just by yourself. But this is all part of having a balanced life that will make you live longer. And that kind of brings me to the next thing, which is about fitness. Okay, how many hours do you spend with fitness? So I'm just going to go back to the one earlier. So we had 66 hours, and then I've given 12 hours to having fun. 12. I know that's a lot. Some people will probably have a heart attack hearing that. But hey, I'm the one running the course. You can do your own thing whenever you want. But now that brings us down to 54. So we've got fitness, okay? How fit are you? Remember, you need to be healthy and fit to extend your life. So Vitality, as many of you know, they've identified different areas that stops people from living a full, longer, healthy life. One of those areas is keeping fit. So how often do you look after yourself in that area? How often do you exercise? I would say an hour a day for that, 4 days a week, because you don't want to overdo it. So 4 hours exercise in a week. I don't think that's too bad. So for those people who keep fit, could you just put in some stuff in there about what kind of things do you do for fitness? Fitness is different from fun. I hope you recognize that. I know they're the same-ish in a way, but what kind of things do you do? I know Ado said he plays football. Is there anybody else that does other things? So for me personally, I play badminton and yoga, yes. Walking is very popular. I play badminton, but I also play football. I've started playing football recently in a football league. Dancing, yeah, nice one, Judith. Cycling, cardio workout, yes. Oh, for some of you who might not know this, Zumba. There's the Peloton. I don't know if any of you know about Peloton, which is with Vitality. Now, since the lockdown, what's that? Calisthenics. Nice. Mark, what is calisthenics? I don't have a clue. Please enlighten us. Never heard of calisthenics before. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, if you've got Vitality, you actually get Peloton exercises for free for 3 months, I think, 120 days, 140, something for 3 months, I think. Now, Peloton is absolutely awesome. And I'm actually quite hooked because one, when you do a 20-minute class, you get 5 points, which is great. But also they've got so many fun classes. I actually do some of the classes with my boys. I've got 2 boys, they're 13 and 15, and my wife. And the 4 of us, we have often just sat down just in the front room, plugged Peloton into the TV, and we've either done cardio class, we've done a strength class, we've done some stretching together. And my wife and I will go on walks. So sometimes we'll put on the walking exercise with Peloton and we'll listen to it and we'll do the stuff it tells us to do. So if you haven't got Peloton, I would encourage you to go and check it out. It's with Vitality and you get it for free. So why not? So let me see. Yes, Janice as well. I've not done that yet. I've stuck to Peloton, but I love Janice. I love Jessica Ennis. And I think, yeah, she's only from down the road in Sheffield. I've seen it. I registered, but I never actually took it on. I got stuck with Peloton. But yeah, Janice is really good. And you all have access to that. And again, it's free. So why not? And the beauty I love about you exercising is that you get the vitality points. Now, if you've got, if you're with Vitality, do you get your 40 points on a weekly basis? If you don't, why not? Okay, you need to be getting those 40 points every week. Now, what I do, I don't get 12 and a half steps every day, but I work out so I get my heart rate up to a certain point so that I either get my 5 points or I get my 8 points straight. I know Kevin O'Malley, he does his first thing in the morning, and I think he gets his 8 points like by 12 o'clock. So he's done for the rest of the day. But if you've got Peloton or Janice as well, you do an exercise for about 20 minutes and you get 5 points. So all you need, and I've done this loads of times, all you need is another 7,000 steps and you've got your 8 points for the day. So guess what I do? I put some music on and I dance around the house. Remember, I told you I like having fun. So I just put some music on, I dance around the house. Before I know it, I've got my 7,000 steps. Especially now when we have this COVID-19, we couldn't go out. So I was just having a great time. Thank you, Neka, 12,500 steps every day for the last 3 months. Well done. But yeah, 40 points is minimum. You can do that, okay? So for fitness, we've got 4 hours, which means you have 50 hours left in the week. 50 hours left in the week. And then the next bit really is your firm. Now, when I say firm, I don't mean how firm your muscles are. That's not what I mean. Your firm really is your business, your Genistar business. Now, a lot of people work, and I remember Alan Palmer saying, I think he used to work, I can't remember now, 70, 80-hour days. Now, for a lot of people, you don't have a 40-hour job in a week. For most people, it's actually 60 hours. Because yes, you've got to register 40 hours at work. However, you've got the traveling time to get there. You've got the traveling time back home. So really, it's a 60-hour work you've got, not 40 hours. But let's say you've got your business, okay? You need to work on your business. Now, for those of you in Genistar, you've got to be very disciplined to be in Genistar because you get a lot of no's. No, 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 no. The no's come thick and fast. However, when I look at getting the no's, you know what spurs me on? What you need to think about for those of you with children is, do you want to get the no's or do you want your children to get the no's? Okay? Do you want the no's or your children to get the no's? So, no, you can't get those shoes. No, you can't go to Disney. No, you can't get the Xbox. No, we can't afford that. No, we can't do this. No, we can't do that. And I think for me, that's where the business comes in. Are you going to get the no's or are you going to let your children get the no's? I would rather get the no's. And the more no's you get, you're getting closer to your yeses. If you've been in this business for longer than 2 days, you've had a couple of no's already. Well, I also hope you've had a couple of yeses that's been positive for you. And you look out for those yeses, but you need to work on your business. You need to work on your business. It takes hard work. I think recently, was yesterday or day before, IT, she sent me something from Richard Branson where he said, and I think in the quote, he said something about a lot of people are willing to work for 40 years at a job whereby when they finish, they give them a pen and maybe a plaque to say, well done. But they won't take 3 years to focus on growing their business. So it's really important that you can commit to your business consistently, because the results in the future is absolutely awesome. So again, for me, it's really important that you spend some time in your business. What are your business goals? It was great talking to Steve earlier, Steve Lawrence. I was asking him when was his target for senior team leader, and he said by the end of the month, and then he's expecting to go further. That is the way it's supposed to be. So what goals do you have? Are you going to remain part-time or full-time? Are you planning to go full-time? I started part-time, and about 5 years later, I could go full-time. Okay, so what are your targets? Are you how much do you want to earn on a weekly basis? Are you spending time putting your CCMP together? For those who don't know what the CCMP is, it's a clear, concise mental picture of what you want. Do you read it every morning? Do you read it every evening? Have you got it on your phone so that you can look at it whenever you look at your phone? Have you got it on your laptop so that you can see it there every single day? Have you spent time to plan your business goals? So it's really important that you decide, how big do you want to get? Steve Jenkins had to start somewhere. You're starting the same place where Steve Jenkins started. There's no reason why you can't get that big and bigger. The sky is the limit. So for me, you need to have some goals that you can set for yourself. You need to have some business goals. So as a part-timer, 12 hours I think is sensible. Maybe 8 to 12 hours in a week on your business. If you just spend 2 hours a day, and then you get Sunday off or whatever day off you get for yourself, for 2 days a week, that's 2 times 6 is 12. So you do a scoop and a carry back, an hour and a half, and then you spend half an hour making phone calls. So let's take 12 hours away from the 50 that is left. It means you've got 38 hours left. So you've still got 38 hours left to do whatever you want. So what else is there to look at? What's the next F? The next F really is your finances. And this is split into two. There's your income, and then there's your net worth. Now, for me, this is something that we don't talk about it enough. And I think maybe I don't know. A lot of people join Jennystar because they need the income. I know I joined because I needed the income, and every penny that came in, most of it went towards his children's football. Both my boys, they play football, they play rugby, they used to play badminton, they went swimming. There's all sorts of things that your money goes to. So when you earn from Jennystar, for most of us, especially those of us who have children, you don't even spend it. Your children spend it for you. So, the school fees, not everybody pays school fees. But for me right now, my boys have been known for the last 6 months. They're starting school tomorrow. We took them to go and get the measurements for their shoes last week. One of them is a size 11 and the other is a size 12. Please, for those of you who are parents, pity me. Yeah, size 11 and 12. They both play rugby, which means they need a rugby boot. They play football boots. They need school shoes. So I understand when the money comes in, it's got places to go to. It's always going somewhere else. But you also need to plan, how much are you going to put aside for the future? So something we talk to people about is the 10-10-10-70 strategy. When you get paid and you get your Jennystar money, not everybody can afford to put it all away into a deposit, into a savings account. Not everybody can afford to put even 50% away. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is to think about being consistent about putting something away from the money you earn. I was able to become debt-free. Thank God for John Flynn, because he was really serious with me about this, that you have to invest in yourself. And so the 10-10-10-70 strategy is the first 10% that you earn. For those people who don't know what that is, the first 10% of the money that you come in, so the first 10% you earn from your Genesis paycheck, I would recommend you give away. There are lots of charities out there that need the money that we earn. And I believe if you're blessed, you should bless others. For those who've been giving, much is expected. So personally, I will say give 10% away. If you're a Christian and you tithe, awesome, fantastic. If you tithe out of £200, by God's grace, you'll be tithing out of £2,000. So I encourage you to give 10% away. Compassion, there's lots of charities out there that need what we do. And then the next 10%, you need to invest in an emergency fund. If you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months expenses in an account, you will never, ever, ever, ever get into debt. So are you investing or putting 10% away in an emergency fund? And then 10% invest in the future. For those of us relying on the government and the pension, I'm sorry, but they're gradually eroding the pension. So I wouldn't expect you to depend on that. But put 10% away, invest in the future. And then the remaining 70%, guess what? Let them fight over it, okay? Your gas, your water, your lecky, your mortgage, your rent, 70% can go towards that. Now, I recognize that not all of us can do 10, 10, 10, 70. So this is what I'm going to suggest you do. Why not start where you are right now? Plan to do 11197. Can you do that? If you can, this is what's going to happen. You will start putting that away, and then before you know it, you'll find yourself doing 22294. And then before you know it, you find yourself making it bigger. But I encourage you, I really, really, really encourage you, the money you earn, put something away. Just a little bit. You work hard for your money. I'm not sure, should I sing it? Yeah. You work hard for your money. I like to have fun. Anyway, you work hard for your money. So I encourage you to put some away. And for those of you who have children, I encourage you to teach this to your children. I wish somebody had taught me this 20 years ago, even. My life would be completely different now. So teach your children, both my boys, they know this. When they get their pocket money, when they get their birthday money, it doesn't matter whatever money they get, they put 10% towards compassion, and they put 10% in their savings account, and they spend 70. So 10, 20, 70, that's what they do. I would encourage you to teach that to your children, and then sit down and make plans with the family. Okay, so make plans with the family about finances. Very important that we get to do that. But you need to develop the habit, and because you create your own wealth, the more effort you put into Genesis, the more money you will get out. It's as simple as that. So create that wealth and invest in your future. 10, 10, 10, 70 is the way forward. And so those are the ones there. I mentioned earlier that the first 7 is really going to go towards when you're working towards financial independence. Okay. Now the next ones are the things you do when you've achieved financial independence, and that is, what do you do for others? What do you do for others? You know, it's important that you just don't focus on yourself. Is it Jim Rohn says, help enough people get what they want and you get what you want. So I think it's important that we can bless other people. And what can you do for others? It could be a charity. Okay, do you support any charity? It could be community service. So for myself, I do a lot of stuff within the community. I'm still a group scout leader. So I still train, my boys, they went to a primary school, which is local to where I live. Now my youngest son is going to year 9 now. So he left the school 3 years ago, but I'm still a football coach there. And, it's not to brag, but I remember one of the reasons I went full-time eventually was Jeff, actually. Jeff called me a few years after I'd been Jenister, and he said to me, he said, Sam, you're doing all these things. You're a group scout leader. I used to chair a charity. You do all these things. How many of those things are actually putting money in your pocket? And I said to Jeff, it was Jeff and John, and I said, actually, none, but I just love helping people. He said, well, imagine what you could do if you had more time and more money. And I kind of knew what it meant, but I didn't see it. Now that I'm full-time in Jenister, now that I'm helping my team grow, I actually see myself, I do more within the community now. I give more time. I've actually been approached to become a counselor in my local ward, just because of the amount of the ways I'm able to help within the community. So for those of you that say, I'm too busy, I'm helping people, imagine how much more you could do if you had more time. Very important to think about that. And then, who do you want to bless? Which organizations do you want to bless? So now, I said, any questions from anybody? I don't know if anybody put anything in the chat box about questions, but if you put it in, please put something in there again, because I can't remember if anybody put any questions. Is there any questions? Unmute yourself if you have any questions. But that's me done. Any questions?
Sorry, Sam.
Yes.
If I've missed one, I only got 8 Fs.
Get in. I like you. I did that on purpose, actually. I did miss one out on purpose just to see if anybody picked up on it.
Thank you very much. Should I say anything? Or
No. Well done. I did leave one out just to see if anybody was good. If anybody was listening. So thank you very much. Sorry, what's your name?
Obi, for sure.
Obi. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So the last one I missed out is for eternity. What are you doing for eternity? So, yeah, I just put that there just to really see if anybody will pick up on it. So, what is the legacy? I get a prize then. I'll have a picture afterwards. What is the legacy you're leaving for your future? I think for me, one of the reasons I joined Jenister, apart from being able to make money while I sleep, is I want to break generational. That's a negative way of putting it. I want to create generational wealth in my family. I want to be able to leave this world knowing that I've left my children in a better position than I ever was. So what legacy are you leaving for the future? Do you have a will? If you don't have a will, I encourage you, by the end of the week, arrange to get one done, because nobody wants to die and your life is not your own. You have your assets in a trust. 100,000 homes are taken from old people in the UK every year. They've worked 40 years to pay their mortgage, and then when they get old and they go to a home, the local council sells their house to pay for the home. Do you want that to be your story? You can hear me saying this now. You do not have an excuse. Do you have your assets in a trust? Because the government will sell it from under your nose to put you in a home. All right? Do you have life insurance? Yes, you're in Jenister, you provide that for families. Do you have one yourself? If you don't, hey, You want a building named after yourself? Why not? Why not? You know, what are you doing so that you will be remembered long after you've left? I think it's really important that we all, I want to leave a legacy. You know, when I look at my mentor, John Flynn, he passed away. John, you know, I've gone past bearing children, or my wife and I, you know, but if my wife and I were going to have any other child, I'll be naming that child John Flynn, because John made a massive impact on my life. I am here now because John invested in my life. He was in my home, I was in his home. He sold into me. And that's really what I want to do. I want to leave a legacy behind, not just in my children, but in the people around me. I've now got a grandson. My grandson is 18 months old. I want to be able to send him to, I'm already planning to send him to a private school where my boys go to now, from primary, not from secondary like my boys did. But I want to be able to continue to invest in people so that 5 generations from now, when they mention great-great-great-grandpa Sam Leigh, my children will know who I am, because they will be able to trace back the family tree, and they'll recognize that the poverty that's been around for a long time stopped at this point. And things have been progressively getting better from my generation. So for me, that's what eternity is. What do you want your legacy to be, and what will you be leaving behind? And now, really, 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 this is now question time. So thank you, Obi. But yeah, so question time. Any questions from anybody?
You got one from Ola. Sam, you got one from Ola in there in the chat.
Ola, most people I have met seem to be extroverts. What advice do you have for introverts on how to get people to join Jenister? So Jenister for me, okay, so I would say, yeah, I'm an extrovert. But the people I have in my business who are introverts, it's training, is mindset, is learning to use what you have to get to people that you want to get to. So, for example, do you know how to form people? Form, basically, I taught my children form when they were, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. And when you see somebody, you've got to be methodical about it. So form, tell me about your family, or, you know, have you got a family? Do you have children? Do you have a wife? Extend on that, you know, extend on that part of the question. How long have you been married? When did you meet your wife? Oh, wow, that's great. That's awesome. Fantastic. Now the O is your occupation. What do you do? Sometimes I ask people, how do you bless the world? Instead of saying, I go to a lot of networking events, BNI, Foreign, all sorts of networking events. I go on this app and I look for events and I go and talk to people. So what do you do? Occupation-wise, how do you bless other people? Ask me about the O, and then the R is recreation. What do you do for fun? You know, and then the M really is the message. So the message is you're looking for people, you want to earn some extra income, and you'd like to invite them to come and see the presentation. I think, you know, anybody can succeed in our business. I mean, when I look at John Flynn was an introvert. John hates speaking in public, all right? But he did it because over the years, he learned how to be able to do it. So you can learn. You can learn it. You've just got to be consistent in doing it. I don't know if that helps. If anybody, any other EVPs on the room, or anybody else who's got an expertise in that area, if you want to jump in, please feel free to jump in. More than happy for that. But yeah, thank you, Ola. Great question. Any other questions?
There's one from Teresa. How can we put our house in the trust? And you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll just take the one. I just saw this one, so I'm going to answer that one first because I've seen it. So form is F is family.
Mm-hmm.
So O is occupation, R is recreation, and the M is the message. If you haven't got your, go and look in the Jenister Fast Track workbook. It's in there. Teresa, how do you put your house in a trust? So if you've got life insurance, I know Vitality can help you with that, but Onvestor as well. If you talk to Onvestor and if you talk to your EVP, they'll be able to help you with that and be able to support you in that area. But yeah, thank you. Thank you. Great question, Teresa. Any other questions? Or do we just want to dance and sing?
Can you just, is it possible, can you just let us know what was the last point on the for others slide after community, please?
Which one? Which slide?
The one that said for others, and then
For
the last,
others?
yeah. Philanthropy. Thank you. That's
yeah, okay. All right, that one. And then you've got this, and then just the last one really.
Hi, Sam, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
The 9 Fs is very much about having a balanced life.
Yes.
And making sure that you cover all areas of in your life to be able to achieve.
Yes.
When you were running for EVP, did you find that you had to sacrifice some areas to be able to achieve that goal?
Yes. Yes is the simple question.
And what areas were they that you sacrificed to be able to achieve it, and how did that impact the family?
I think family-wise, my boys, I had promised them that when I got to EVP, we would go to Disney. So one of my sons wanted to go to Disney, the other one wanted to go to St. Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
And I had promised them that when I got to EVP, we would do that. And so I do recognize that when I was running for my EVP, I did have to put more time into, I remember back in those days, you couldn't sit down, you had to go and travel to different places to do scoops and carry bags. So I was not around for a while.
Yeah.
Because I was out there grinding. But we did go to St. Vincent and they both know it. And we did go to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So I promised them that if we did, we would be able to do those two things that they both wanted. So it was for a short while.
Yeah.
It wasn't forever. You know, when I think about my life before I became into Jenister, I used to work 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would come home, grab about half an hour, and then go and teach until about 9 o'clock, driving instructor.
Yep.
You get me? So I was doing 2 lessons in an evening from 5 till 7 and then maybe 7:30 till 9. And then I'll come back home, they'll be in bed already.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really seeing them.
Yeah.
But then becoming full-time in Jenister, actually, I'll tell you now, one of the reasons why I went full-time was because my son was starting at high school.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't even an EVP, I was a group leader when I left my job.
Okay.
But my son was starting at high school and I recognized that he was getting older. And so I wanted to be able to take him to school, pick him up and bring him back home afterwards.
Yeah.
And that was what I did. Now, going full-time in Jenister gave me the opportunity to do that.
To do that. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Sorry,
carry on.
Sorry, does that answer the question? So I did sacrifice stuff, but it was only for a short time.
So a short-term grind for a long-term gain.
For a long-term gain. Again, it's recognizing, I think somebody said, there's only so many decisions we need to make in life, and it's important that we make them well. So, how far you're going to go with your education, what religion you're going to follow, how much money you want to make, which children you're going to have, who you're going to marry, what work you're going to do. There's only about 6-7 decisions in life that
Mhm.
you're going to make that will impact your life.
Yeah.
And so for me, going full-time and making EVP is a decision that has impacted my life, and I can now spend more time with my children than I've ever done. So through
Amen.
this COVID-19, we play basketball on a daily basis. We go to the park, we play football, we play cash flow on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm able to spend more time, but I had to grind to achieve that.
To achieve that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can't see me, but I'm smiling.
Great, that's fine, that's fine. And I think for me, it's really about discipline. You know, is this somebody, I think it was Bob Salford that said, to go from good to great,
Yeah.
it takes disciplined people
Yeah.
with disciplined thinking
Mm-hmm.
and disciplined use of their time. So I'm going to
Yeah.
repeat that. To go from good to great, it takes disciplined people with disciplined thinking and disciplined use of their time. And all these 9 F's is about discipline.
Yeah.
Nothing great ever happens without discipline. You do need to have a balanced life. It's very, very important, because you can work. You know, Solomon said everything is meaningless. Yeah, because you work, you work yourself to the ground, you die, then your children go and party your money away. So you do need to have a balanced life. But it takes discipline to actually do that. And if you don't plan it, it will never happen. So when I've put all those times there, you know, I've said, you know, 12 hours for this, 5 hours for that, 8 hours for that. It's not just because I don't have anything else to do. It's because you do need to plan yourself. Because if you don't plan it, it will not happen.
Mm.
Is there any other questions? Thank you very much, Caroline. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're
How do
asking
we
about
access-
they're asking about the access to the session recording.
I'm recording it. I will post it in the team leader room. If you ask your team leader, maybe by the end of tomorrow, I'll try and post it in there. So if you ask your team leader or your EVP, I'll post it in the EVP WhatsApp group and the team leader WhatsApp group, so they can share. You can share it with your team then.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. You've been absolutely awesome, Steve. Thanks. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. You've all been absolutely fantastic and awesome, and I love you.
Thank you, Sam.
See you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you,
Great
guys.
presentation. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, guys. God bless. Have a
Bye.
nice evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. Much
Bye,
appreciated.
guys. God bless.
Cheers, Sam. Thank you. Yeah.